This is Professor Mark Barkey at the University of Alabama, and I want to talk a little bit about our summer course, AEM250. There's going to be a little bit of a change from the usual way that I teach this due to us teaching this as an internet class. But the main thing to do is to be able to get into the Blackboard Shell for the course. So your screen may look a little bit different. You may have different classes over here. But for me, I go to my Faculty tab and I go into Blackboard Learn this way by clicking on this particular section that we have for our class, AEM250-050. So I click on that, and this is I'll bring up my Blackboard Shell for the course. And here's the course home screen, AEM250 Mechanics and Materials. Now there are some important aspects to this home page, and I want to introduce those to you. First of all is our course syllabus. This will be our assignment sheet. I have sent that out to you by email by the time you have this video. But this takes us to the online syllabus management system. Here's our summer course, and there's some important information in here that you need to look over. I will also send a copy of this, like I said, in a PDF document. It talks about our grading policy and different things and special things that we have for our COVID-19 affected session. Next thing we have here is the course schedule. The course schedule are the things that we're going to do in our class for each day. And that downloads a PDF, and that pops over here, so I'll load that up. And here is our course schedule. So our first day of class is May 27th. We will cover these topics: introduction to normal stress and extensional stress and stress strain diagrams, and the problems associated with those assignments. Those reading topics are listed here over on the right hand side. Now it's very important to note that this semester, in the summer, I will not be collecting those homework assignments. I will give some homework assignments, but they will not be those problems. That said, if you don't work those problems that I'm strongly suggesting that you work, you're going to have a very difficult time understanding how to work the test questions, because the test questions are going to be very similar to these problems that I have listed over here on the right hand side. Summer classes are extremely compressed. We take an entire semester and shrink it down to about 4 weeks of content. We have class every day, and we have class for basically 2 sessions for every day. Where in an ordinary semester, we would have a semester that has Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. What we're doing is we're taking the Monday and Wednesday and putting it in the first day of class, and then the Friday and the next Monday putting it in the second day of class, and so forth. So it moves extremely quickly. Okay, but every day we have these different topics. We have these exams. Our first exam is on June the 3rd. We have exam 1. Exam 1 will be 90 minutes. We'll talk about how those will be distributed a little bit later. Okay. Exam 2 is on the 12th. Okay, that's only a few days after that. And then we have the 22nd, and then our final exam is scheduled for the 26th of June. Okay. And so this gives a very detailed list of what we're going to be covering each day. Now, let me close this window up and get back to our course over here. We can go back to the course homepage, and that shows this nice picture. All these pictures are pictures that I've taken in various trips and things that I've done. And this particular one is in the Residence Center in Detroit, Michigan. And these big columns of concrete are very interesting because they support very large compressive loads on this huge building. It's 600-700 feet tall. It's just a huge building. All right, so to start the class, what you're going to do is you're going to look first at the introduction module. Okay, watch the instructor's welcome video, and then you'll go into the introduction module. Okay, there's not a whole lot in here. You look at the syllabus, talk about the homework, and then you go into module 1, Introduction to Stress, Strain, and Design. So again, here's another picture. This is a piece of metal, a piece of steel that's being heated. This is in a laboratory experiment that I've done. There's an extensometer rod over here, and we measure the stress-strain response of this material. Okay, so as you scroll down, what you'll do then is you'll watch this lecture video, Lecture 1, Introduction to Normal Stress, Introduction to the Course and Normal Stress. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to bring up this video that you can play. All right. Now, of course, you have to have internet access and so forth. But I won't play that through that. But what you can do is you can get in here and take a look at the different videos. You can watch this. You can take notes. However, I also supply you with the notes for each of these lectures as I have made them. So if you go right down below here, it says Lecture 1 Notes. And you click on that, and then that will download a PDF document of the notes that I have made for that particular session. Okay? So it goes through and describes all these different things. You have one of those for each video. Now there are some additional demonstration videos that I have also recorded, and so you can click on those. This is about a tensile test and so forth. So Exam 1 covers Module 1, so that's all the information in this video and in that part of the book. And we'll talk about the book in a moment, as there is some important information to know about our book as well. We'll go through the class. There's Module 2. There it is as it loads here. This was a projectile fired out of a gun to a metal target, and this is the deformed shape that I'm measuring here with this ruby or sapphire coordinate measuring machine probe. Okay? So you go through and you watch the lectures and so forth. These assignments, they don't apply to us in the summer. We'll talk about the assignments a little bit later. So you go through and watch all the videos all the way through Module 9. Now, let's see if I can find that assignment sheet. I do want you to work these problems, and it's important that you work these problems in order for you to practice for your exam. So here's problem 2.2-1, 5 and 14. Okay, that'll give you some practice with normal stress. If you get stuck on a problem, I have made literally more than 100 videos to help work through all the different homework problems. So where do you find those? You go over here to the left-hand side and click on Barkey Videos, and it takes you to something called Panopto. Take a moment for it to load here. But in this Panopto folder are various subfolders. There's lectures, lecture set 1, lecture set 2. One of these lecture sets is what is in this Blackboard Shell. I've actually made another lecture set, the same course, different time. You can refer to that if you want to see things worded in a slightly different way. But what you can do then is click on this folder that says AEM250 Worked Out Problems. If I click on this folder, it'll take a moment, but it will give me all the different homework problems that are worked out. So you see there's problem 7.3-11, and if we scroll down, right now this is set to 25 problems per page. Let's change it to 250 problems per page. Take a moment for that to show that. And then I'm going to sort this by name. And you'll probably want to do this in order to help you locate homework problems. Okay. So here there are a couple additional explanation videos, but then they get into AEM250 problem 10.2-15. Interesting thing about computers, it thinks anything that starts with a 1 comes before anything that starts with a 2. So chapter 10 is listed before chapter 2. So let's scroll down. Of course, there's chapter 12. Let's scroll down. Now we get into the problems dealing with chapter 2. So here's 2.12. Okay, that's not the right section, but 12 starts with a 1, so it gets listed before section 2.2. All right, so just be mindful of that. So here's this one homework problem here, 2.2-11, 2.2-13. Let's see, here's 2.2-2, 2.2-4, 2.2-5, 2.2-6, and so forth. And I've worked literally, like I said, more than 100 of these problems. Here's 117. Now, it looked like maybe problem 2.2-1 was not one that I made a video on. If you would like me to make a video for that particular problem, send me an email and I will work that problem and post that video into this folder or a similar folder in this area. Okay, but there are plenty of problems here. You have tons and tons of examples that you can look at. Now, I do want to emphasize that some of these homework problems make very good test problems. Some of these problems do not make very good test problems. Just kind of depends on the particular problem. I will be very clear about the expectations for each exam, and we'll show that in the discussion board coming up. All right, so that's how we get to the videos. That's a very important part of this class. Let's go back. Let's see if we can go back one folder. Maybe we have to click on that. Let's see. Let's go back to this Barkey Videos section. We're in that folder. Maybe we can bring that up a level. Now, if for some reason you don't see what I see, let me know, because there are all kinds of weird permissions and things. Now, course information, that's another important thing to look at. The video that I'm making right now will eventually be put into this folder. But in this folder are videos where I talk about what you should know for exam number 1, exam number 2, exam number 3, and the final exam. All right. Grades, that's where your grades will be posted. I do keep the official grade book on my computer, and so if you have a grade change, it may not be reflected in Blackboard, but it will be reflected at the end of the semester because I keep those records on my own computer. Discussion board, this is another important area. So we can click in here, take a look. I will try to check this discussion board every day. You can always send me an email if you have questions as well. Here's an introductions area. Since we are away from each other, you may not know other people. You can enter this introduction discussion and you can talk about yourself, give a little description where you're at, why you're taking the class this way this summer, and all the different things that are going on. Share whatever you want. If you don't want to share anything, don't worry about it. All right, we'll back this up. Help wanted, if you have a question, and post it here. I will try to check this. If another student hasn't already responded, then I can help get in there and respond to that question. Suggestions and corrections. Sometimes there's a blurry video, sometimes there's a typo, sometimes I just make a mistake in my videos. If you find an error, you're more than welcome to post that in there, and then I will take care of that for the next course. Information on the course, homework, and exams. I'm going to go to Student View so that you can see what initially is in here. We'll go to the discussion board. The instructor view has things that I have hidden. But this is what you'll see. Information on the course, homework, and exams. If we get in here, there's a lot of important information. This first one talks about modules, chapters, homework assignments, and so forth. There's an introduction email, which I will email out to you and post in here. We have a required calculator for the course. You should use one of these two required calculators that we have. You can click in there. I'll be honest with you, that'll be very difficult for me to enforce this rule, as the exams this summer will be taken independently without a proctor. Now we'll talk about that situation soon. Here's something really important, how to opt out of the ebook. We'll talk about something called Red Shelf pretty soon, but you want to look at this for these instructions. Homework handouts. Not every problem is in the book. Homework handouts on our assignment page, let me bring that over here, will be discussed in there, and they'll be listed in there. So this one says handout on website. If you want to know where to find that handout, then you click on this right here. Let's see if we can see it. Okay, so we click on this PDF and that brings that up. All right. Common problems and frequently asked questions. Okay, I run out of time when I take a test. Something didn't make sense to me. So all these things, I've taught this class many years now. I've taught it probably since before most of you were born. And I have a lot of experience with this. I know what questions students ask, and here are the answers to a lot of these types of questions. So I run out of time when I take the test. Make sure you have studied enough to know what solution procedures apply to problems before you take the exam. How should I study for exams? I'm a graduate student. All these different things that I get asked fairly frequently go in this area right here. Okay, let's see this. What should I expect to have to know for exam number 1? I have this for the number 2, number 3, and the final exam. So you click on this, and I will give you a list of all the things that you will be expected to know for your exam number 1. Find axial stress and strain in a bar from loads and temperature changes. So you will learn about that in the lecture videos in Module 1. Okay, all these different topics. And what I would recommend is you take this and you put this out as a checklist that you can take a look at. All right, so let's see where we're at here. We talked about the discussion board and what to expect on the exams. And there's a how-to forum. How to opt out of the ebook, how to find homework handouts, how to submit homework, and things like that. So the ebook is accessible through Red Shelf. Okay, this link here will take you to this page where you access your access granted course materials, and it'll take you to the ebook. Now your ebook will not be available until the first day of class, so if you don't have that in there, it won't show up yet. Now these are just, I don't know what all this is. This just kind of popped up here, but you'll find the book for our class. If we go back to that discussion board, I'll show you what that should look like. You should see this book, and then if you want to opt out of it, maybe you already have purchased it, maybe you have a hard copy, there's this thing down here that you click on that says I want to opt out of access to all required materials for this course. Otherwise you will be automatically charged, and it's about $60, something like that, for this book, which is in soft copy, which is not a bad price considering it costs around $200 in hard copy as a new book. Alright, so we talked about the modules. Let's go back to the discussion board. One other thing I want to bring up here, I think it's introductions. One thing that I've noticed is a problem I've seen is students using Chegg.com and similar services. There is absolutely no reason to use Chegg in this class. I've worked out all the homework problems. If there's one that's not worked out, you can ask me and I will work it out. I will show you how I want them worked out. If you try to use this, I will catch you and I will turn you into academic misconduct monitor for a possible academic misconduct violation. So don't do that. Everything that I write personally is copyrighted by me. It is not to be shared, distributed, otherwise dispersed on the internet. Alright, so that is the main point of what I have here. Now, as I mentioned, I will be sending you some homework problems that you will work out and you will upload them as a PDF. The exams in this class are going to be given during the class time on exam day in the schedule. I'll bring that over here so you can take a look at it. Alright, so our first exam will be on June the 3rd. Our class period is longer than an hour and a half. Our exams will be 90 minutes. That will give you enough time to download the exam, print it out, work it out on paper, scan it, turn it into a PDF, and email it back to me. Okay? I don't want JPEG files, I want PDF documents, So keep that in mind. Before the start of the class, make sure that you're in a situation where you can produce PDF documents somehow of pieces of paper, and then you can get that to me, and I will grade that. You will not have to use a proctoring service. You will be on your own to honor the commitments for the exam procedure. Violations of that will be taken to the Academic Misconduct Monitor. We'll have 3 exams at these dates specified and our final exam. And the exams then, of course, are during our class time, except for the final exam. The final exam is from 8 to 10:30 a.m. on June 26th. You'll get an email with your exam shortly before that time, and then you can print it out or look at it on your computer screen or whatever, and then work these problems out. Send them back to me during that time. We are in the U.S. time zone, Central Time Zone. All right. So we're going to go by that time. If you're not in the U.S. time zone, then you'll have to set your alarm clock and get up early or stay up late or wherever it is that you're at. But this is when the exam will be sent, and the dates it will be sent, and when you'll send it back. So you'll have basically 90 minutes plus a few extra minutes to get your exam back to me after I send it to you. All right, well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you do have additional questions, email them to me, post them on our discussion board once you have access to the course shell.